Hey, are you ready? Welcome to the St. Michael podcast. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the St. Michael podcast, one man's attempt at business, family, and comedy. I am your host, your gracious host, Michael Agbajan. Yes, thank you so much for joining me for the 42nd episode. And in this one, we're going to have a little fun. In this one, we're actually going to bring in a little crowd experience. This is going to be one of our producers. I make it sound like we're all big, like one of our producers. Michael, I'm your only producer. But yeah, he's going to see him Junior's here. Say what's up.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Tap in, tap in.
Yeah, I'm just going to get right to it. Have fun with it. I'm actually happier today because the employee that I've had issues with, who's, again, amazing at his work, but for the last couple of weeks, he hasn't had his phone turned on. So it's been more of like a struggle to trying to like communicate and all that. And I'm so glad to say that he's finally paid his phone bill. Shout out to him for that. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for finally getting that done, because now that he has that done, I'm talking about our relationship is skyrocketed. His business is booming. And see what better communication can do? You know, I was telling him, I was like, out of all the things you don't want to do is communicate poorly. If you're gonna be delayed to a customer's house and you can't communicate that, and you gotta try to hit them with a text through like some other device or whatever, it just gets kind of weird. And the fact that he got that done, it's been great ever since. I hope we could continue this because he's one of my best employees. So I'm happy about that. And then also, like, there's more good news when it comes to a new person joining the team. We have, I did an interview with a gentleman. It's actually one of my best employees' friends. And I told myself, I'm like, look, anytime in the past when I like hired friends, people who were like friends, it always went bad, because when you lose somebody, when they quit, it's kind of like a 2-for-1, you know, like both of them end up quitting, or both of them have problems, or one quits and then one tries to get the other one to quit because, you know, he feel like he was like, you staying with the person who you gets fired you or you quit from is doing you wrong. So, you know, like you need to leave that business too. So it's usually like a bad idea, but you know, I said, okay, maybe birds of a feather flock together, and I could interview this guy and we could kind of see like, you know, if he's a good fit. So far, did the interview, I like it. I haven't made a decision yet. He seems like a very promising person. He's coming a little bit far. If you're familiar with the Dallas area where I'm broadcasting this podcast from, he's in the Frisco area. So it's really cool. But it's weird because, you know, people talk about Frisco and like, this is new to me. I'm not sure if it's been new to you, listener or even producer. Have you heard that, I guess, Plano isn't really a very diverse place? You heard that before?
No, I never heard that before. I always thought it was more diverse. But Frisco for the past couple of years is pretty growing though. It's growing.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but positive things, right? And lately, when I mentioned like Frisco, which is where this employee came from, you know, they always talk about like it's not diverse enough, or there's not a lot of like black people there. They don't really support black people and like the culture there. And I'm like, I always thought it was like a super diverse school system and community and all that. And they're like, nah, it's not really friendly towards black people. And this is just news to me. Have you heard, you said you never heard that?
Never heard of it before.
Yeah, well, that's news to me. But you know, this potential guy, you know, he's a black guy, and he said he was born and raised in Frisco, you know, so something promising's come out of that, you know. He said he just had a baby, so he's trying to take care of his responsibilities, trying to take it to the next level. And I said, hey, look, join the team. We're going to take it to that level. But see, I can't tell you yet. I just got to kind of think about it. I saw the work that he did. You know, I let him try out to see, like, on his own vehicle. And it was like, wow. And I said, okay, this is a good place to kind of like start, because, you know, if they come in, if I interview them and they come in and they're not like, let's say don't even like they leave a lot of streaks or they leave dirt here, dirt there, then I kind of know they're not fit for this job, because at the bare minimum, you need to know what a clean car looks like. So that's kind of what I base it on. It's kind of like if I had a restaurant and I got someone to come in to wash dishes, and every time you wash dishes, all the dishes got streaks and crumbs on it. It's like, you need to know what a clean dish is, you know? And if you don't know what a clean dish is, then you can't really have this job. And to train you to understand what a clean dish looks like, I don't know if there's any training available for that. You know what I mean? So I always look at their base to see where they're starting out without any training or anything like that. So if I make the decision, I told him I'm gonna let him know on Monday. From that point on, we're gonna have his whole kit ready. He's gonna be ready to get out in the field, get to business, start earning some heavy bread, providing services. But just, he came from a different type of background. So you got to make sure that, there's a particular type of like low learning curve, because if the learning curve is just so big where, let's say he came from like retail, and those are people usually that just, will never get what we do. Working outdoors for someone who works indoors in air conditioning, or someone who's just used to an office job, they have to say, I'm ready for something new, So that was good. And then also this week, it was kind of cool. I kind of felt a new emotion here. It's like, okay, this is a different type of company meeting I had yesterday, a different type of company meeting. It was actually the Water Boys car wash came over to the barber school to clean the barber school van, and to see both interact with each other, it's like a proud father. It was like, this is so great. So I felt that was the first time ever that I've kind of crossed over in our services, from, I don't really try to involve anybody family-wise when it comes to like the washes. And look, as busy as I am, I never get a chance to wash my own car. And I finally got a chance to do it, because first they tell me this: if you're gonna get your car clean, you don't really want your own employees coming to your house, because they get upset with you and they quit and they want to kill you. I'm like, oh yeah, the house is a bad idea. So I never really ever got my car cleaned, and I'm too busy sometimes to even do it myself. And I'm like, I can't even use my own service. So then it hit me. I'm like, the barber school van needs to be cleaned. And then I stacked on my car. Then I stacked on my mom's. And, after everything said and done, I asked my mom, I was like, how was the experience? She's like, it was good. I was like, I think you're hiding something. I hope she's happy. But so seeing those two meet was very special to me. I didn't want to kind of put it out there on social media or anything like that, because I'm like, I don't want to be flexing on everyone. I don't want everyone to be like, oh, look at this guy. You know what I mean? I'm like, let me just keep this to myself, put it out a little later, So that was a proud moment. But someone earlier this week was asking me about like, how do they start a business in like their area, and they're looking into like going into like cleaning. So I'm like, I'm not sure what niche you want to do, but I always tell people when they're trying to figure out something new, like a new business or something like that, is find an alternative business example, So like, for example, if I'm looking to franchise or do some type of franchise deal with the Water Boys, and I'll look at someone like Janny King, which is like a huge janitorial service. I'll use them as, okay, what steps did they take? What do they do different to understand like what type of, like services or packages or contracts I need to have. So I always let people know, like, find an alternative business example for you to kind of look at their blueprint and how they did it, and I hope it helped them. They're trying to change things around right now, because unemployment's like crazy right now. Like, unemployment's at 13 million, and pre-pandemic, the unemployment was 6 million. So the fact that so many people are trying to change their lives around, trying to go into something, trying to find new side hustles. I helped someone this morning trying to find new side hustles. Like, man, I need a new side hustle. I was telling about how Airbnb now you can go to like apartments where they're unrestricted. I'm looking like, are you trying to do something creative, or like what are your interests? There's like a lot of different alternatives that you could do right now, especially even if you're trying to look into like going into real estate, because right now the real estate market is hot. Went down a little bit in October. They said it went down like 4%, but other than that, most people don't pay attention to those numbers. And you can see outside that houses are going up for sale, and they're selling super quick. Like our neighbor across the street, he put his house. So two of our neighbors moved in the last 6 months, and the one across the street, they put it on the market, and literally in 2 days, their house sold $20,000 above asking. So that was pretty amazing. And then our other neighbor, one door down, sold 6 months ago, and their house sold again $10,000 over asking. So the market's on fire, you know. So if you're trying to go into anything real estate, it's probably one of those places to go. But I know who isn't working right now. I guess a lot of like fast food workers, because I'm not sure if y'all heard about Flippy. It's like the robot. Have you heard of Flippy?
I've heard of robots doing like in fast food.
Yes, yeah. You know it, yeah. So right now, Flippy, he's a $30,000 robot that they put together to flip all the burgers. Okay, before everyone was talking to like pre-pandemic, people were saying that's weird, and this guy who started the company about to go out of business just because people thought it was just too weird having like robots flip your burger and do all that. Now that the pandemic hit, like their business has skyrocketed, and now that it's hard for them to even fill demand. And what?
I feel like it's foreshadowing.
It's foreshadowing in what way?
I feel like in a couple of years, when I have robots.
Yeah, because bro, I saw another one. They're talking about how robots are going to eventually start doing like job interviews, and I can imagine that. Like the other day, I had a robocall, and usually immediately when I get a robocall, I immediately boom hang up. They be look, it's like hello there. I'm like, oh, that's a robot. I hang up. This time, someone was like, hello, I am an AI robot, and I have a message to share with you. So from the very jump, because they were honest, I was kind of like, okay, I'm just listening. It literally went down the whole way of saying that there's this new, insurance exchange for you to get insurance, et cetera, et cetera. But I listened all the way through. Usually I hang up immediately, but the fact that they were honest and said that, it's a robot or it's it's AI at the very beginning made me a little bit like open to like, okay, I'll listen to what you have to say if it's something that might actually be helpful, But
that's an iRobot type deal, man.
Yeah, and you look at it and say, okay, what is convenient worth? Like convenience is worth what when it comes to letting because right now we're only tapping into like AI. AI is, accounts for a lot of how their traffic lights change. They use a lot of AI with that, how they make decisions on if they should hire someone or not. They're using AI with that. So we're already using, robots per se to help us make decisions, but we're not really putting robots at the front line to actually interact and talk, because who wants to talk to a robot? You know what I mean? I know, but I know the robot business for porn has been going up though. They said that now that AI is like at a higher level, that they're now able to create sex dolls like you've never seen before. They said like they can interact and have a relationship, like a real relationship with you. And now people are gonna have robot and human relationships. Like it's already happening in like Germany, like crazy.
That's odd. I feel like that's a kind of equivalent to like a blow up doll or something like that.
Yeah. But they said the blow up doll has nothing on this. They said this one you're talking about $25,000. You have the charger. You talk to it in the morning. You say good morning. There's a lot of examples of people who married their blow up doll. Now you look at this, and they said that people just aren't looking for something like an object to have sex with. That people are looking for relationships. And if you could have from a robot, from a robot.
That's a little odd to me. That's a little odd.
Yeah, but if you're out there and you're super lonely and you got a robot that you can say, good morning, Amy. Good morning.
That sounds like some RoboCop stuff, man.
Yeah, but I like RoboCop, by the way.
That's a very, very legendary movie, by the way.
Yeah, but that's kind of crazy, because now Flippy is $30,000, and now a lot of like fast food places are installing Flippy to flip these burgers and get these burgers out, and people are like, oh man, the fast food like job is like dead. I'm like, no, and honestly, to even be more honest, I'd rather interact with a robot than sometimes like these employees at the front, because I don't need that attitude. Robots don't give me attitude. Robots just say yes or no. That's all I need. And if I say someone a little this, little that, because one time I went to Subway, I was like, hey, can I get a little ranch? I was like, You just ruined the entire sandwich. Would a robot have done that? No. You know, but so there's other things that are happening right now. Yelp. Okay, look. First off, let me say the news first, so you know what's going on. But Yelp, they're introducing now for you to be able to label businesses as like having racist behavior. Like you're able to put like a flag if it's been accused of having racist behavior. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure about that. Like I could see how it might be like what they call, what do they call that? Virtue signaling. Are you familiar with virtue signaling?
Never heard of it before.
Virtue signaling is when, you know, you do something on the surface that looks good, saying, hey, we're going to help, you know, 1,000 minority families buy a home, but really behind the scenes, you're not really doing nothing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that in the works before.
Yeah. People try to pretend like they're doing so good for a community, but really behind the scenes, like for example, when Aunt Jemima said, or whatever who owns them, Quaker Oats said, we're going to change the name of Aunt Jemima to, you know, not be disrespectful to this and that. That's the example of virtue signaling. They're not really handling the real problem. They're more just making a little change, hoping that that's enough for the public to say, wow, you're really like in this, you know?
That's a new saying. I'm gonna add that to my vocabulary.
Yeah, virtue signaling. And right now, like Yelp, they're trying to say like you're able to label. And I could just imagine the reason I have an issue personally, this is what I wanted to share, is that I have an issue with Yelp because I feel like Yelp shouldn't exist. Yelp, I get it. It might be good for like, you know, reviews and try to get like, maybe for like a restaurant, but for business, like it's the worst thing ever. Mainly because there's a particular part, it's like almost a new term called Yelp Extortion. And when you have it where a customer comes in and they don't get their way for whatever reason, they will say, oh, okay, I'm gonna get on Yelp and oh man, now you gotta either do something for them, give them something for free, because honestly, Yelp doesn't have any type of like claim or any type of dispute. Once it's up, it's up. And there's no way to dispute it. There's no way to get it off. It's kind of like they tell you, Yelp will say, like someone will put a fake review and they'll say something like, I remember my first review on Yelp. Some person said, I came in with my Honda Civic. Okay, that was already peculiar. But continue, said, they basically scratched up my car. It looked like they had keys. This is literally a few days after getting on Yelp, and I was like, what? So I'm looking, I'm like, when did this customer come in? I'm looking around, I'm finding it. I don't find that customer. I'm like, when did that customer come in? I call Yelp and they said, well, I'm sorry, we're not able to remove it. I was like, that person didn't have a receipt for their, like, this never happened. And they put this up on my business and this never happened. They're saying that we scratched the car with their keys and did all this extra, made the car dirtier than what it really is. Like, does this sound like someone who would pay for service?
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, and then they're like, I'm sorry, the only thing you do is just talk to some of your good customers and get them to write like good reviews. I'm like, this is not right. And since then, customers will go on. If they have a problem, what will they do? Not talk to a manager. The thing, instead of talking to a manager, they'll go straight to Yelp and they'll give them the grievances. I'm like, first off, if you weren't happy or something didn't happen, you could have just talked to us. You didn't have to pay for something you didn't like, or you didn't have to go here like as if no one's listening. People are here to address your issues. Give us a little feedback if you're not happy, rather than just saying, I'm pissed off and all this. If you're that pissed, you shouldn't have paid, you know? But instead what happens is extortion. So when I look at this one where you're able to label a business to be, have racist behavior, I can imagine the extortion, but then also I can see where, I mean, I'm thinking like places in Mississippi, places in Dallas that are like racist. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's almost a part of the culture to look at, like there's some clubs that I remember I was going with a few of my boys and we're going to the club and they're harassing one particular one, talking about like, oh, you can't wear hats, you can't have a button up. I was like, you can't have a button up. Like, how do you not have, like, the Den. That's actually where it is in Dallas, the Den.
Yeah. Dallas is so gentrified when it comes to dress codes, man. They're very particular.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it is a form of discrimination. You could put up for whatever the business is that, hey, this business was racist or did this racist or whatever. It's not going to stop people from like going, especially if the culture around it, which the culture in Dallas. Hey, look, if you're from Dallas, you know that Dallas likes to keep things a little separate. They like to separate things, you know, and, you know, they want to make sure that like, we'll keep the art over here. We'll keep the the ghetto over here. We keep the homeless over here. We keep the rich people over here. We keep the Hispanics over here. We keep, Asian people. It's all little particular communities that they keep real separate. You can even see it in the businesses when they do, when they grant business licenses in Dallas. Like they'll discriminate in that way. Like I remember everyone talks about redlining when it comes to with homes. Are you familiar with redlining?
Never heard of it.
Redlining is when they would restrict you from having going into certain communities and buying a house. They wouldn't let you go into that community. And the reason is because they said black people will lower the value and that they won't let you in, right? Okay, now mind you, that's what they did for a long time. That's like Jim Crow era. They did this for a long time, even up until recently that they finally kind of cut it down a little bit. But redlining, how it happened in housing, happened a lot with businesses where they won't allow particular type of businesses to be in certain places. Like if you're familiar with Dallas at all, you don't have to even be familiar with Dallas. If you're familiar with a highway, there's Highway I-20, which goes all through Dallas, Grand Prairie, Arlington. And you're not allowed to have any type of mechanic, any type of car wash, any type of certain particular businesses, tattoo places that are off the entire highway. Like it's like an ordinance they put there. And that is, again, a form of discriminating, saying that this particular business, which again, if it is, let's say, more minority owned, you could put that business here and there, and no one will know the wiser. So the fact that Yelp is doing this, I wish that Yelp really never existed to begin with. I don't see the big plus about what happens. That like helps businesses, because you have to pay for, like, you could literally on Yelp pay for less bad reviews or to get negative reviews. It's just sloppy, and they have too much power. So when you tell them, I want to take my business off Yelp, Yelp's like, oh, you're not allowed to take your business off because it's a public forum. No, it isn't. You're a private company. Well, they are public, but it's not a public forum. Like not Airbnb, the Better Business Bureau, they can't just add you on. They have to ask for your permission to be on there. I feel like anything else, you should be able to have your business somewhere. If you don't want it in that directory, you should be able to take it out. And it's like almost like if someone came, like Yelp to me is like someone could come by, spray graffiti all over your business, and then walk off, and you got to leave that graffiti up. And you're like, hey, I need to clean this up. Or, like, can I dispute what this is? I don't think this is a true claim or whatever it might be. And they're like, no, there's nothing we could do about it. That's just, to me, I feel like Yelp is not good for the business community. But hey, that's just my opinion. But if we're talking about communities, I didn't realize until recently that the Facebook community is so large when it comes to social media. They own 74.5% of all social media traffic. And are you on social media a lot?
Yes, I am.
Oh, which ones? What's your top favorite three?
Top three: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter.
Oh, okay, so with YouTube, that wouldn't be social media. You don't socialize on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. You can comment on videos.
Well, this is about Facebook, and Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp, and I wouldn't consider WhatsApp a social media network, but this is good if you're looking to advertise and promote, because anyone I know, when you put in $500 online in social media versus $500 like for like a radio ad or anything like that, it goes so much further, deeper reach, connects to more people on social media. So the fact that they have 74.5% of the market like in one place, and you're able to advertise and promote within that market itself, shows you that, you need to invest. You need to lean in if you haven't already, because that's just the way it is. I remember, this is the last thing. I was driving by the other day and I saw a sign, and I was like, okay, this sign is low-key brilliant. And the sign, it was McDonald's, and the sign they had on it, usually you see when like everyone's been closed for COVID, they say, hey, we're open now, right? Mm-hmm. But what McDonald's put on, they put, we've missed you.
Oh, that's cute.
That was much better, right? Better. Yeah. And I'm like,
that's top tier marketing.
Yeah, top tier. We've missed you. It's literally it's better than saying, hey, we're open. Like, hey, we're open now due to COVID. Like, who wants to read that? But we've missed you says two messages. Hey, come back. And A, like, we're open. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that they did a 2-for-1 with just such a concentrated amount of words was pretty amazing. And I remember after I left there, because I was going with the boys, we could go into the park, and I got to the park, and I say this a lot about people who, you know, like share, like anytime I start talking to people, they start sharing about like things that are very personal to them. And this woman at the park, I was asking her, I was like, what do you think about like Dallas? She's like, I like Dallas. I love the skyline more than anything. And then like,
everybody says that, by the way.
You said what?
Everybody said like that they love the skyline.
Yeah, the skyline. And then I was like, okay, what do you think about like Houston or Austin? She's like, well, Houston, it's a little ghetto. And then when I heard that, it kind of like, felt a little weird because, you know, it's a white woman. But I was like, when you say ghetto, I'm like, what do you think ghetto is? You know?
I'll say this though, Houston's pretty overcrowded to say.
Yeah, because Houston, the thing about Dallas, we have beautiful parks, we got places for you to go. But Houston, the only place for you to play as a child is like an abandoned warehouse or train tracks. I don't really see any places naturally that you could go out. You know, not even naturally. Like,
well, they did have Astroworld, but they closed that down a few years ago.
Astroworld? Yeah. Oh yeah, they did. But yeah, she was telling me about how, you know, like during COVID, it's been really hard for her, and that her brother passed, and then her grandmother passed, who practically raised her. And she's just sharing a lot about the beef that she has in her family. I was like, man, she's sharing a lot. And I figured out that, you know, maybe it's not just me particularly about people just wanting to share things, but I feel like because strangers don't know you is mainly the reason why they share so much. You know, like, who are you going to tell? Like, if the things that she told me, if she told that to her own family, the people who she knows so well, they would probably disown her. They'll probably be like, oh, they'll judge her and all that. But when you talk to a stranger about something fresh, that they have, you know, fresh eyes and fresh ears on something, to me is the reason why you get that so much, at least for me personally, is probably because they just don't know. I don't know the people, and there's a place for them to share their info.
Yeah, it's like, well, why do you think strangers support you more than your own friends, you know?
Yeah. You know, because people, when you talk about strangers who support you versus your own friends, I feel like your friends or your family per se, they're not really for you. They're there for you like in a blood way. You know what I mean? Like, you can't change that. So the fact that like me and my brother, if we didn't know each other, will we be friends in regular life, right? So you have to think in that sense. But usually your family or your very close friends, you can't really change those per se. You can, but figuratively speaking, well, not even that, but when it comes to any type of stranger who supports your business or anything like in any way, it's usually because they're fresh to it, they're new to it, they don't have your background or understanding of what you do and how well you do it. They give you a good try, a good fresh try, and anything you want to share before we end this?
No, man, just it was good talk, you know. Yeah, man, but friends, support your friends.
Yeah, support your people. Support your people.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Simple repost or like will go a long way.
Yeah, simple post. You can do it for free.
For the $0.99.
So appreciate you all for joining me. Now you know it's gonna be a conversation with me, myself, and Bly, my beautiful wife. She's gonna kind of give you the behind the scenes of what we do and what we talk about. Hope you enjoy the conversation. It's always super fun. Always have a great time talking to her. I love you, and I'll see you later. Peace out. What's up?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Oh, really?
I feel better now.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you great? Why you feel great?
Because everything's rolling, everything's smooth.
Okay. Rolling.
We sound good on the ones and twos. Now, ones and twos is the
Whenever I hear somebody say I'm like, look, baby girl, and you just don't quit. I love it when you wear them tight outfits.
Who's that?
You love vibrant thing. You know, I'm the king. Why don't you go ahead and swing on a Whopper Manny Fresh?
Oh my God. Like, I'm supposed to know Manny Fresh off the top of the head?
I know, that's sad that I do.
Manny Fresh.
Manny Fresh is our return, baby.
Yeah, Manny Fresh had the worst versus battle.
You think? Oh, yeah, he did. Well, they put him up against Scott Storch.
Yeah, I think
That don't even make sense.
make sure your levels are good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it had him against like Scott Storch.
That
And I
didn't
was
make
like,
any sense.
yeah, I was like, first off, they're not even the same category
Not
of
even
music.
close. Not even close. And Manny Fresh got that same Trigger Man beat for every song.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just like,
I was like, all right, let's get to a new.
this ain't even a competition. I felt bad for Manny. I love Manny Fresh.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is.
Does he make you miss New Orleans?
Of course he does. Yeah, that beat. Man, you know I live for
What was
a
that?
good beat.
What was that show we watched on Netflix?
Oh, it was something about like New Orleans, but I
Hip hop.
can't remember.
It was something like hip hop.
Yeah, that's true.
And and it showed the
beginning of like bounce music culture and just like second line music and how Cash Money came about and No Limit and all the superstars that came out of New Orleans. I was like, ooh, I knew every single song.
that was the worst part of it. I can tell you, because watching it every time, like that's how true to New Orleans, because watching it, I'm like right when they're about to say something, you already know what it is.
I already know what
it is.
Oh, is
that Zavon Shea? I was like, oh my God. You know everything in this.
I was born and raised in NOLA. Like, I know a lot about it. But this crazy part, I still, like, there's a lot that I don't know about it. People always ask me, where's this place? Or what's this? Or where did it come from? I'm like, I really don't know, like, the history that well.
Yeah.
Like, I should, but, music, when it comes from New Orleans, what I'm saying? I be knowing that beat.
Is that New Orleans music? Like, I know bounce music is New Orleans, but what was originally New Orleans music before, like jazz?
I think so. Yeah, jazz was in New Orleans. Like, I believe Louis Armstrong was in New Orleans too. I believe. I'm not sure because we have a park named after him, so I'm just gonna go ahead and assume. But like in the French Quarter, that's like all the music that came from the French Quarters were like that was like jazz music. All the famous jazz musicians came from like Louisiana and New Orleans. So yeah, we'll go ahead and assume. But if I'm wrong,
Shout out to all the New Orleans greats.
You know what I'm saying? And the ones that ain't great. Shout out to y'all too.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all too. Yeah.
We made it.
So how's your day so far?
My day is kind of chill. Nothing too spectacular. I went to work today and it was okay. I had a rough start.
Rough start?
Yeah, because I had, this lady, she shopped with me exactly 14 days from today, which is our return policy. We have a 14-day return policy.
You're wrong for that, though.
It used to be 10, so we extended it to 14 days. And she came in today on her 14th day, wanted to return a $2,300 handbag. Mind you, she didn't want to buy it in the first place. I didn't talk her into it. She just decided she wanted to get it. She come in, return it today. And obviously I sold it to her and I couldn't tell her no because today was the last day for her to return it. She never even opened it out the box. She never took it out the box. So immediately she must have had buyer's remorse or something. I don't know. So she comes in, she returns it. I wasn't tripping. I was like, it is what it is. Whatever, it's retail. But then I had a couple who came in right after her who shops with me, who's been shopping with me since for years, since 2016. And they came in today and it was the wife's birthday. And so they spent like close to $3,000 with me, but it sucked because I was already in the negative, like $2,300, and then they came and spent $3,000. So it was just kind of like they got me out the negative, but I had to like start over. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't really enjoy that big sale because I was in a negative and they helped dig me out. You know?
So it kind of threw off.
Yeah, it kind of threw off my whole day, which, it wasn't bad. It was like I could have ended at number 1 for the day, but I ended up like at number 4 out of like 5 associates that worked today. So it just kind of threw off my mood a little bit, but I was just like, it is what it is. But it does kind of sting.
So tell me this. Do you take sales personal?
No, I try not to. I try not to take sales personally because for the lady who returned the handbag, I knew she was going to return it anyway because she wasn't like 100% sure when she purchased it. So I don't take it personally when people return it. It's just that when you have a big sale, you can't really enjoy it because you're like, I'm in a negative and I have to like dig myself out of this hole. So it's like all day you're trying to get sales in just to get out of that hole and start being positive so you can make money off of the positive.
So it takes your focus off because
it does,
you just focus on
getting out of that hole, getting out of that negative. Yeah, so you can't really enjoy the sales that you have because you're just focused on getting out of the hole. And it's crazy because in our store, you would rather get a return on your day off than the day that you're working. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
Out of sight, out of mind, like when they're not.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. Because if you're not there and you get a big return, it's just like, it is what it is. And when you come back tomorrow, it's at zero. You just get a fresh start. But when you're there that day and you get that big return, it's like, ugh. It's like either all the big sales that you had before the return is wiped out, or, you're in a negative and you have to like dig yourself out of that negative, which it's easy to do, but at the same time, it just, like I said, takes the joy out of everything that comes after that negative.
Is it unique that do any of, like, you don't have to name anybody, but does anybody around you take sales personal?
Oh yeah. Oh,
where they get hurt.
Yeah, they get hurt. I mean, it ruins their day to where, I mean, some of them clock out and go home.
Ooh.
Yeah, they clock out and go home.
It's that serious, yeah.
It's that serious. Or they'll just like sit in the back and just be like, you know what, I'm going to just do something else and not even sell. It really like breaks them down. And I always have to remind them, I'm like, well, if you can't take a negative, if you can't, handle a return, then maybe this isn't for you, because even you do returns. Everybody goes to Walmart return, Target, or wherever you shop at. You may have liked it in the beginning, but then you're like, I really don't really care for it. You go and return it too. So you can't take it personally. I get that we make commission off of it. So you might take it a little personally because it is kind of messing with your money, but at the same time, it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Either you can be sad that you're in the negative, or you can just, turn that negative into a positive, So
he's like, maybe you're not built for this.
I tell him, I tell him. And even when I get a big return, I'd be like, it's all good, because if I took it personally, I wouldn't be here,
Yeah.
So I do not take it personally, because it is what it is, because I get it. I return stuff all the time. I went to Michael's yesterday and returned a couple of things that I had purchased that I didn't use. And they kind of were giving me like a hard time about it, which I didn't understand, because everything still had tags on it. I still had the receipt. And it was more like, okay, why are you returning it? What do you want? Like, what's the reason? I'm like, it's been within 14 days. And why are y'all giving me such a hard time about it? Like calling the manager and had 3 people helping at the register. I was like, look, y'all need to give me my money back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't get it, but
It's weird that triggered a question that I got when I went to go get the registration for the car.
Yeah.
It was downtown, right? So they said, "Excuse me, can you tell us why you were late on your registration?" So I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "What's the reason you're late?" I was like, "I'm just delayed." And she's like, "Delayed why?" And I was like,
God.
"Yeah, no." I was like, I didn't get a chance to do it. I just forgot. And she's like, "Okay." And she wrote, she continued.
God.
And I was like, they really wanted a reason,
Really?
And I'm thinking, I don't have a reason,
You could have just said COVID, because COVID, and I'm afraid to leave my house. What
Yeah, for real. I could have.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and she questioned me, like she double back when she was like, "Okay, what was the reason why?" I was like, I gotta give more detail.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my reason, because I didn't have enough time, should be good enough for you.
Yeah, but when you talked about the like your like coworkers or people around you who like take it personally,
Yeah.
like with my like guys, like the detailers, when like they get a complaint, which you're gonna get one at some point.
Of course, yeah.
It always like ruins their day.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, did you expect to just be perfect in everything and never have a complaint ever? You know what I mean?
Like no one's perfect. Everybody's gonna have a complaint. Like you can't. Nothing you do is gonna meet everyone's expectation. Like the same thing with my coworkers too. When they get a complaint, they take it so personally, and I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just part of like the amount of people you meet, and the amount of movements that you make.
Right.
Something's bound to happen.
Exactly.
It's just like when people like make a mistake and they beat themselves up about it so bad, as if like mistakes don't happen.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I think we're talking about a few podcasts ago where Addie's like cutting.
And he cut his finger. Yeah.
When people like cut themselves or people like just make some type of accident, they always take it like, man, wish I never did that. I was like, that's just how it is. It's a mistake. Yeah, exactly. And those things happen. But overall, work, that was today. So how's it been?
That was today. Yeah.
This whole week.
This week, I mean, so far. Today's only Tuesday. Yeah, I'm like, what is today? I don't even know. But
slowest day of business, Tuesday.
Yeah, it was slow. It was slow today. But it was, it wasn't too bad today at work. Today it kind of went by fast for me.
And you tell everybody that you voted?
You know what? I don't think I even mentioned it to anyone.
It wasn't a big look. Usually after voting, you know, you wanted to do the boomerang and all that.
Yeah.
You didn't turn up on that. It was good.
Well, I mean, we had went to lunch afterwards, and I took a picture of like our plate, and then you were kind of like in the picture. You had your sticker on, so I did put like vote early.
You had to zoom in.
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh look, we voted. You know, sometimes I post and sometimes I don't. I don't know. Some things I get excited about, some things I don't. I mean, I was okay there. I mean, look, we went vote. Okay, we voted. We did what we were supposed to do. It just was like, I don't know. When we got there, it was just like quick in, out, bam. You know what I mean? It wasn't like no excitement to like, oh, we had to wait in line for like 3 hours and they couldn't find our registration. You know, like
yeah. Like any like obstacles or like things that we had to like overcome just to make it.
Nothing.
Make the vote.
Like nobody left. We didn't leave our driver's license at home. Like we came prepared. Like we walked.
It was
in.
like what, up the street? Like,
Yeah, it was literally a minute from our house. Like literally less than a minute from our house. So we parked in like the perfect parking spot. We walked in, gave them our registration card, which I didn't even know we had to bring. You were just like, oh, we got to bring it. And we just happened to, it was mailed to us like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. So I just remember where we put it. And so we got there, we gave it to them, and that was it. We voted, and that was it. So it was just like, that's it.
I know. Because she did the same thing. Like, you know, we're in different booths. We're next to each other.
Yeah.
And when it came down to the vote, you know, you look and you just
You
like,
gotta make sure.
you're making sure you're like,
You make sure you click that right one.
yeah, you're like, because it happens a lot when you're like about to text somebody.
Yes.
And you're talking about somebody.
Oh, you got to make sure you ain't talking about that person you about to send that text to.
He's like, Ricky. He's like, yeah, because Ricky's this and Ricky's that. You're like, all right, I'm sending it to Jane. You're like, Jane. You know, because you just want to make sure.
Make sure you ain't effing up.
Because once you send that and
that's it. Exactly.
I wonder how many like relationships and friendships ended on that.
Oh, I'm sure a lot. I mean, it's never happened to me personally.
Accidental text?
Yeah, I've never sent an accidental text. And if I did, I'm sure I had a really good cover up because I'm quick with the with the snapbacks or whatever. But I do remember this was a long time ago in college. Me and like my girlfriends, we went to New Orleans. And one of the girls who was with us, she was like, I guess upset that we decided to stay in New Orleans a little bit longer. And we drove there from Beaumont, we drove. And so we all like decided, it was like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 girls. And we decided, okay, we're going to go shopping on our way back to Beaumont. We're going to hit this little mall or outlet or whatever. And I guess she was upset because she was like, she needed to get back because I think she had to study for a test or something like that. And she's like going in on one of the girls who's in the group with us. But she accidentally sends it to her when she meant to send it to somebody else. And so we're all in the house as the girl receives the text message and she's reading it. And then she comes, she's like, blah, look at this. And I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, you know, and like the girl who accidentally sent the text is like in a different, room in the house. And we're just like, wow. She's like going in, And then I guess she made up some excuse like, I didn't mean to text that to you. I was actually like talking to my sister about something different. I don't know. She made up something that didn't make any sense, but we laughed it off. But I know my friend was a little hurt by it because she went in on her,
Yeah. Because, I mean, I think they're both hurt because she's getting kind of lied.
Yeah, exactly.
So she just got to kind of give that.
Cover it up.
Yeah, cover up.
And
it was terrible cover up. And then the other girl, where she like gets the truth about what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's about you.
And that's like your homegirl, like your best friend, your sister. And then it's like to get to know that like someone that close to you is so not capable, but like is okay with talking crap about you.
Messes
you know
with
what
the
I mean?
trust.
It messes with the trust. Exactly. So I don't know. I'm sure their relationship is still like A1. I don't know what happened if they talked. I can't remember.
What makes you so sure
the
their relationship's still A1?
Because, I mean, it was just like, I think because the way my friend is, she's more like, it is what it is. I don't care. Move on, So I think she wasn't really tripping about it. Maybe when it happened, she was, but we're all old and grown with kids and married and stuff. So, you know what I mean? So I'm sure they're like really cool, close. Yeah. Honestly, I really don't know. I'm just assuming. But yeah, it's just like, it's crazy when things like that happen. Because like I said, I've never done that. But I'm sure.
You ever been a victim of it? You haven't been a victim of it, and you never done it.
I've never been a victim of it, and I don't think I've ever done it. But I have been in a group message where, you know, if it's like 3 or 4 of us and one of the person is talking about somebody in that group and accidentally sends it to the group. So I've witnessed that, you know, and then they'll text me separately and be like, oh my God, I effed up, you know, and then I'm like, well, just say this just to kind of cover it up, you know, or say something like that, you know, to fix it. So I have been in that situation, but I don't think that I personally sent something, and I don't think that someone said something to me.
I've been a part. It's happened to me before.
You have?
Yeah, where it was in a group chat, and this is particularly with Phil.
Oh God.
Yeah, and
shout out Phil.
Shout out to Phil. You know, and my brother said something, and then Phil said something in response.
Yeah.
Then I hit Kevin. So I'm like, why Phil always think that, you know, this, and then I wait for a response. He's like, what do you mean? Because I did this and this and that, and I was like, that's a weird response. Kevin said, you know, I was like, if I did, oh, so I was like, ha ha ha, and I'm like, Kevin, I just sent it, you know, but he particularly didn't notice. It wasn't anything like derogatory, like
exactly.
That was bad, which is good because
it
was something like, you know, he always like this and he trash, da da da. That'd be like terrible.
That'd be terrible.
It was more just like, why he always think that this and this and that? He's like, what do you mean? Because this and this and that. I was like, oh.
Oh my goodness.
And then he was like, oh, okay. And then it was like gone.
Oh my, but see, that's different. Well, not different, but you guys are like really close friends and y'all don't really talk smack about each other. At least I don't think y'all do.
Yeah.
You know, and boys are different. Y'all don't.
Men are way different when it comes to women.
Y'all don't be going in like that.
Y'all are like.
Women be so catty.
Women are, y'all, when it comes to women on women crime.
Women on women crime.
Yeah, y'all know how to get at the emotions.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like y'all know yourselves, so obviously getting at another woman's emotions and saying something that cuts deep.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, it happens all the time.
Yeah, that's very true. I always have to watch what I say when it comes to
you
like
gotta
my friends.
you got a quick mouth.
I do have a quick mouth. It's very sharp, so I'm learning to like not really say anything.
That's like me.
Yeah, and I've been to you. You know, when I get messages from my friends, before I even respond, I'll talk to you about it. I'm like, babe, look what she just said, you know, and then you'll say something. If we're on the same page, whereas like I'm thinking negatively, I'm like, you know what, I'm not even going to say and I'm not going to even respond, you know, but if you're like, well, maybe she meant it like this or this, and maybe you're taking it the wrong way, then I'm like, okay, well, I'll see it, you know, that way, then I'll respond. But yeah, when I get them text messages where I'm like, I need to go off and say something, I just be like, you know what?
It is one of those things where you question, like, should I address it?
It's not even worth it.
Yeah, as you, like, I don't know if this is like maturity.
I think so.
It has to be maturity. It's not age. It's just maturity of understanding, like, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. You don't have to, like, respond to every negative thing, because there's a lot of times where I get, you know, text messages or phone calls or whatever, comments from close friends to where I'm raising an eyebrow like, how dare you, you know? But then it's like, it's not even worth it. I just move on from it. I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. I'm not going to go back and forth with nobody, you know? So they don't matter.
Yeah, because it takes a while for that feeling to kind of go away of being bothered. But once it goes away, who cares?
Who cares, you know? Like, even my sister, sometimes she'll say things to me, and, you know, I'm sure I do the same to her as well, but she'll say something that strike a nerve, and I'm just like, I want to say something, but I'm not, you know? But if it bothers me for a few days, then I'll speak on it. You know, I'll be like, you know what, I got to be honest, what you said did kind of, you know, bother me a little bit, because sometimes she'll say stuff where I wouldn't expect my sister to say to me, but, you know, I'm really good at just kind of like letting it roll off my shoulder and move on. But if I'm still thinking about it for like 2 or 3 days later, I'm like, I'm gonna just bring it up to her. It never ends well.
That's crazy, because you know your younger sister, how you operate with her is how I am with Kevin.
Your brother. Yeah, we're both middle child children, so we kind of know how to like handle our younger siblings.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Let me move on, because I've addressed some things, and it always just goes into a direction where I don't even care like that,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
That's
like, what
funny.
are we even arguing about in the first place, you know?
Yeah, no. So when it comes to like figuring out like how to resolve an issue, like when something happens, like if, you know, like the whole making up something.
Right.
Yeah. Is it something that I'm not even sure if it's, you know, a good question. Like when it comes to resolving it, is it something that you gotta like talk about, or is it something you just gotta deny and pretend like it never happened?
That's a hard one. See, I feel like that's when maturity comes in play too, because you could deny it all you want and make up something, you know, or you could be mature about it and be like, you know what, honestly, yeah, that's really how I feel.
Which lane do you take?
Like I said, it's never really happened to me. But
okay.
I feel like if it was to happen to me, I probably would take the immature route. I'm just saying.
Yeah, just pretend like it didn't happen like that, and just
unless it's like really, really bad and I cannot like figure out how to dig myself out of it, I would just have to be like, yeah, honestly, that's just really how I feel. You know, and I'll be like, you know, I apologize for being so blunt, but that's just, you know, how I feel.
You say that now until it comes.
I know it's true, but you know, sometimes like you can overstep your boundaries with your friends. Like, you know, your friends, they'll ask you for advice, knowing that they don't really want your advice, but they ask you anyway. And when you give them the advice, they're like pissed off, you know. So it's like, what do you do then? Do you just like not say anything, or do you say something? You know. So a lot of times I just be like, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those high roads.
Yeah, you just take the high road.
I was talking to one of my little cousins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, little cousin.
He's 28, and he told me about.
He ain't Lil. He grown Lil.
Yeah, he grown Lil. And he was telling me about how the dating life right now is just not what it is, right?
I'm sure.
And he said, man, the girl I was with before, he's like, I liked her, but man, I should never even post her. I was like, why? He's like, she was so toxic. I was like, toxic? He's like, toxic, bro, like toxic, like. You know, like if I leave the room, she'll go through my phone.
What?
She'll take little sneaky pictures of me. And I was just like, whoa. He's like, yeah. And like, she'll be petty and she like knows everything. Like no matter what, she can't learn. There's no room for learning for it. She knows everything. Everyone else is wrong. You know what I mean? And he was just like, man, this girl was just, you know, like not good for you. You know what I mean? So he's like, I meet a lot of toxic women.
Really?
Yeah. And he said he feels like women are just getting more toxic.
Well, I mean, I would blame that on social media. I feel like that definitely like sparks up a lot of insecurity in people, you know, because I don't know. I just feel like on social media, you're looking at men and women, but I'm sure if you're a man, you're looking at more women than men and vice versa. So it's like, that kind of like has like an insecurity in women. You know, if you're a girl and you're dating this guy and he's on social media, obviously he's posting good pictures of himself. So you want to see who liking them pictures. You know what I'm saying? Who's double tapping those photos. And that kind of creates like a little jealousy.
Oh, so you're saying
too.
there's a beginning to when you become toxic.
I think so.
Oh.
And of course, you know, past relationships, you bring all that baggage into your new one, like trust issues and all that stuff, or, you know, if someone was cheating or whatever. So you kind of carry that into that relationship. But I don't know. I feel like this day and age, it is really hard for people to date because I feel like everybody is just, I mean, I don't want to say everybody is. Obviously, I'm not talking about everyone because I don't know everyone, but I just feel like people are just so fake and phony. And what you see on social media is not what they are in real life. And so they have to pretend, you know, in real life that this is who they are, you know, in social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, it's just so much fake and phony. You just can't trust the fake and phony.
That's super real what you just said, because they have to live up to who they
are on social media.
Yeah. And that's who they really aren't.
That's
you know
not who they are. And, you know, if I don't know, if you're a girl and you're like posting all these pictures like you're confident, but then in person, you're really not confident. You get into a relationship, you're not confident. You don't trust your partner. And you know what I mean? It's just all that just kind of ties in together. I don't know. I just feel like social media plays a big part of like trust issues in relationships.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
Does OnlyFans make it better?
No.
Have you noticed that?
Everybody's on OnlyFans.
Even relationships.
I don't get that. You know, and it's funny because is it Jules Santana? He like promoted his wife,
Kimbella.
Yeah, OnlyFans page. And I'm just like, okay, so obviously just the type of person that she is on social media, she's very like, you know, voluptuous. You know what I mean? Like the clothes is very revealing. So I know she's not posting pictures on OnlyFans of her reading a book in a library. You know what I mean? Unless she's like in lingerie.
I saw some of the pictures.
You have? And I'm sure they're like pretty.
You know, she shows, look, at first she was like, she tapped in early.
Okay.
To the OnlyFans. So it was like, she'll show like maybe a little see-throughness. You know what I mean? Or she'll show like her in the shower, but like you can't see
foggy,
nothing.
yeah.
And then like she'll show like her putting on her, not like a video, it's like a picture. And then next you know, like I think that was like 5 days or weekend. You know, like you got to turn up to like keep people subscribed and get more subscribers. And next you know, now she's posting like fully new chest.
Really?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
But her husband, I don't know if they're married. I don't know.
Yeah,
Jill
he proposed
Santana,
before he went to jail, but I don't know if they're married.
I don't know if they're married, but
Yeah.
it's like he's promoting that. Like, I don't understand. Why are you okay with your wife showing her body off? Like, for money? He's
no,
okay with that?
I think it is for money, but then there's a little psychological difference though.
Okay, what's that?
Because like OnlyFans, what is created, at least for some people,
Yeah.
is like a barrier of I send nudes to guys already.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not gonna come over here and they're not gonna sleep with me and they're not gonna do they can't touch me.
Right.
I'm selling the attention. You know what I mean? Like they want male attention, but they want male attention that pays for it. You know what I mean?
Which I agree if you're like a single person.
Yeah.
If you're single and you're doing OnlyFans, then that's fine. But when you're married and your husband is promoting, that's kind of like...
That's what I'm saying.
He's like pimping her out, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of pimping her out, but that's why I say
Yeah.
the psychological part of it is that in his head, he's basically thinking, you know, they could look, but they can't touch.
And I think that was his caption.
Oh, for
I
real?
want to say, yeah, she posted a picture, or maybe he posted a picture of her or them, and I want to say it was something like, you could look but you can't touch. By the way, subscribe to her OnlyFans or something like that.
Yeah, see, that's how it justifies. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Yeah,
about
that's what,
that.
because there's a lot of relationships of people out there who have the significant other or whoever it is in an OnlyFans.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be like Erica Mena and Safari? I think they're both on OnlyFans.
Wow.
I think so. So I guess I get it when it's like the married couple together decides to do it, then maybe that's okay. But when it's just one of them doing it and then the other one is like promoting, I feel like that's like low key pimping. I feel like y'all both have to do it, or neither one of y'all have to do it. You know what I mean?
Because you got now women, younger women, and it's mostly women who join OnlyFans.
Right.
You know, younger women who are joining, seeing all these people who are gaining stardom or getting all this whatever through social media or through OnlyFans or whatever, and they're like, you know what? Let me get to my bag, you know?
Man.
And then you can start seeing, like, as they start inching closer into the OnlyFans, like, arena.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
exactly.
And then they throw little teasers out there, and next you know they have OnlyFans. You know what I mean? But then if you think about it, it's not even... I mean, I think before it's more of like a shock, like, whoa.
Exactly.
But I'm hearing, like, there's this interview with this woman. She has 3 children. She's a mother. She's pretty, you know, like she has like curves and everything, right?
Right.
And like she does OnlyFans and she does it to support her kids. And she talks to them and tells them that she does this.
What?
Yeah, like she has like an 8-year-old boy, a 4-year-old, 6-year-old girl, and like a 4-year-old boy or something like that.
And she's telling them that she does OnlyFans?
Yeah, like they, you know, I talk to my children, they understand that it's OnlyFans, and they understand that, you know, it's not something that, this is just something I'm doing to bring in money, right? And I'm thinking, you know, what type of example does it, you know, lay? Because, you know, I feel like some kids are too young to go to a funeral, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, they might not understand it correctly, right? Now you're having sit downs with your kid, telling them why you're posing nude for strangers.
But my thing is, why would you tell them that at 8, 4, and whatever age? Like,
oh, because she feels that her children's friends will eventually confront them with photos.
yeah, but they're still not at the age to where she should be telling them. I could see when they're like close to being a teenager, because I would think that teenagers, preteens, are maybe subscribing to OnlyFans. I don't think an 8-year-old would be subscribing to OnlyFans.
So you had
right?
the same feeling I had. Like I didn't feel it was very necessary for them to know that, you know, what you do, because they don't understand it anyway.
They don't understand exactly.
And now you're breaking it down. Now they're going to be like, okay, what is this? They're going to go to that
Right.
website and look around, you know.
Or even tell their friends. You know, my mom has an OnlyFans page, and then what? The kid's going to tell their parents. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think it's really weird. I mean, I will kind of wait till like I mean, if I was to do that, something like that, I'm just saying, you know, I would never. But I'm just saying, you know, if I was to have a discussion like that with the boys, they would have to be old enough to even understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wouldn't even want them to go online just to look and see what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
If they're like, okay, well, if mommy has like new photos on here, I wonder who else has new, you know, and then they go and they investigate and
go
start
down that
finding
rabbit
other
hole,
stuff.
and they're like, whoa.
I wouldn't even want to introduce them to that life. I don't know. It's just, that's so weird to me, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
To each his own. I mean, I'm not against OnlyFans. I'm not a member. I don't, you know, I'm not into like looking at nude photos, but I feel like Instagram is enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, people post half naked photos all the time.
Yeah, but you know, and I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it does change up the pool of quality, you know, a little bit, because
Man.
you know, the one thing is not that it lowers your quality, is that it gives everyone access to something that is special, right?
Exactly.
So if everyone has access, it almost leads you down a road where now you're for the public.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know
the
what I mean?
thing. Like, if you're for the public, let's say you're single and you have an OnlyFans page, but you desperately want to be married or, you know,
There's
and
no
have
way.
kids, how?
There's
how
no way.
can somebody, you know, take you seriously? Which it happens because men fall in love with strippers all the time. So it's not like it's impossible. But I don't know. It's just like for somebody to really respect you as a person, you know, like why would you want to marry someone like that and have kids with someone like that? But it's not impossible. You know, there's strippers out there who are extremely famous. What's her name? Amber Rose. So
She's on OnlyFans.
I'm sure she is. I mean, well, she posted naked pictures on Instagram before. So, I mean, might as well do it for money.
Yeah, everyone's tapping into like OnlyFans to try to like get that easy bag, because the whole COVID-19 got people at home, got people subscribing. I mean, it's crazy
Why
because
y'all can't just make YouTube pages? YouTube
you know what's
channels
even
and
funnier?
stuff. Man.
A lot of women are getting upset with men who are finding like OnlyFans leaks.
What do you mean?
Okay, every random time, right? There'll be like a huge like leak of all these OnlyFans accounts, and let's say it's a JJ Blue or something like that.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to see this particular girl named JJ Blue.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, there's a leak, and then it's kind of like when any celebrity drops a nude and it spreads like fire.
Right.
And then people are really getting upset and petition. It's like, you have to understand, a leak. Why are men big on leaks? That is literally piracy. That is theft. That is harassment. I was like, first off, yeah, it's not that crucial, and it's already out there.
It's already out there.
Yeah, like someone is gonna leak it to their friend.
Right.
Think about
exactly.
it. Once it's on your phone,
You can screenshot it.
screenshot it, record,
Yeah,
download.
exactly.
I mean, let's not pretend like it's only for those people who tap in, because if I'm in a group of 7 creeps, and then like, you think all 7 of us are gonna tap into this one girl's OnlyFans? You know what I mean?
Right. Just like a Netflix account. You get one family who has that account, and then you share that password with the entire neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like if one person got an OnlyFans account, you screenshot and you share that photo with all your friends. Basically the same thing.
There's a word for that.
What's that?
Jejune.
Jejune?
Yeah, jejune.
What is that? Jejune?
Yeah, like jejune.
Okay.
JIJUNE.
What does that mean?
When you oversimplify something and you look at it in a very like imbecile type way, or very simple.
Yeah.
You didn't think it through. You know what I mean? Like in her example, she's like, why you guys, she's upset about people getting leaked. And it's like, first off, because it's a public leak, don't think that because if it wasn't public that it won't be leaked.
Right, exactly.
It's being leaked as you speak.
Yeah.
Just because it came out in a public way for this particular person, that particular person, now you're aware of a leak, and you're like, why do y'all do that? It's like, it's already being leaked.
Why not? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like, it's like porn. Like, porn's free.
Right.
And then people start getting upset about who pays for what. It's like, it's already out there.
It's already out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
so you can't get mad when it's already out there. And people do that. Like, I'm pressing charges, and this is like, look, once it's out there, once it hits the internet, that's the crazy part.
a
Once it
wrap.
hits the internet, it's there.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
That's why Cardi B was so like scared about the whole.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then she came out and she was just like, yeah, I did it. It is what it is. It was my bad.
I can't hate on Cardi B. Like she has
you really can't.
She has the realest responses to everything.
Yeah, exactly. You really can't. Because she could have been quiet. She could have disabled her account. She could have, came out with some lie. But she was like, let me tell y'all what happened. She's like, let me tell y'all what I did, and it was just like, you just laugh it off, and now nobody's even talking about it. That was like last week's news.
Even like Offset, like, see, that's why I said, when something happens, address it right then and there.
Yeah, so we could just move on.
Yeah,
it is,
because, they're back together, whatever, her and Offset. And then she like broke it down for real. She's like, hey, look, let me just be honest. I'm a crazy bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I like, like sometimes I feel this way. Sometimes I don't. I'm just crazy. Like, that's just what it is.
Right.
And then people like, that's true.
That's true. And she was like, we got married young. We moved too fast. She said all this. So it's just like, I mean, that's cool, and just you just move on from it, you know. But if you don't address it, and then you're like, I thought she filed for divorce, and why is she with him? And, you just start saying stuff. She was just like, she just shut it down. She's like, look, it is what it is. Like, I love him. I'm crazy, and I'm gonna be with him. Yeah, we divorced, but we might get back together.
She got OnlyFans.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Who doesn't at this point? Beyonce probably got an OnlyFans, but she
way.
But it's a different type of OnlyFans. It's probably like her, like in her cute little outfits.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It ain't no half naked photos.
What's called came out today talking. Actually, for the first time, speaking about it, Tory Lanez on Meg Thee Stallion, because I think Jay-Z threatened him.
What?
Word on the street.
Jay-Z threatened him?
Yeah.
I don't even get that. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so basically he's coming out, he says, look, let me tell y'all straight up. Like, as soon as the whole thing happened, I'm like nervous. I don't know what to say, I want to tell y'all, my fans, my people, I want to tell y'all what happened. But first thing I did is I called a lawyer. I'm like, all right, this what happened. He's like, you can't go out and speak about anything because we're going to handle this and handle that. And I'm letting them handle it because I don't want to mess things up. And I don't know really what to say and this and that. So basically he's saying that he didn't do nothing. He wouldn't harm anybody. And that basically he wanted to come out and say something, but legally he didn't want to mess up his case. And he's just letting everybody know that he loves them and that, he's still going to be trying to like have fun and, like still support black women. He is a very,
so who shot Meg Thee Stallion?
Word on the street that, a lot of word on the street.
I know.
That they were fighting over, that was my original theory. They're fighting over a gun.
Like physically fighting?
Yeah, like in my head, I'm like, the only way that makes sense, the way that it goes down, the story is as clear as day to me.
Yeah,
is that basically her and Tory Lanez were getting into it.
Yeah,
may have been that Tory got the gun, and she tried to grab it, try to like threaten him or whatever, or either way, she got the gun.
Yeah,
and she's like playing around, and then he grabbed it, and they're fighting over it,
and it pops off.
Yeah, and then you might say something like, I'm gonna shoot this for real if you don't stop. Oh. And you know what I mean? And you boom,
But didn't they get pulled over by the police or something for speeding?
I'm not sure if it's for speeding, but
because now that you say that theory, now I'm thinking in my head, if they got pulled over, maybe he was like, hey Meg, I need you to like hide this gun, or I need you to like conceal it or something. And you're like, nah, I ain't about to hide that gun or something like that, and then it just accidentally goes off or something.
Maybe.
That
I don't know.
It too.
But it has to be something between the both of them. You know what I mean? Where it's just not someone blatantly just busting out.
Yeah, he didn't shoot her because he was mad or something. It was probably just like an accident.
It was an accident during an issue. Something was happening.
Right.
And basically she got shot. But it's an easy wave to ride to say, hey, believe black women.
Right.
We're this.
But
we're
she never came out and said it in the beginning. She never was like, yes, he did shoot me. Like, it took a while for her to say it. Like, yeah, he did shoot me in the foot, So I think you're right. Maybe something happened, between them two to where she probably got tired of people just not, believing her or believing the situation that he shot her. And she was just like, you know what? I'm going to just tell people he did. Because he did. But she's like, I'm not going to tell them the reason behind it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because she could have started it.
Yeah, she didn't give no specifics. Annoying. That was like, she didn't give no specifics. he dropped that album, which everyone was calling Fire. He didn't drop any real specifics. He got around the case, but he didn't really drop anything. So no one really knows until I told my brother and sister, I was like, do you think this is going to be like the new OJ trial for the new generation? She's like, no, because two people died, Yeah, ain't nobody died.
That, Chris Brown and Rihanna thing.
Oh yeah, no one really knew what happened then.
No, people said that she started it, or
don't really matter,
she
though.
gave him herpes or something like that, and they started fighting. It don't really matter because he should never put his hands on
the
her.
way she looked after,
It
Jesus,
was horrible.
I don't know.
But the same thing, Tory Lanez shot Meg Thee Stallion. Like
Rihanna didn't say.
same thing.
Did Rihanna say anything?
I don't think she said anything, but she was more like not on Chris Brown's side. But she was more forgiving because that was her boyfriend, and she probably didn't even want to take him to court. She probably had to because she had to save face because it was out in the open in public that she got beat up by him. But I think it's kind of like the same situation where it's like black women protect our black men when,
we don't protect y'all.
Yeah, they hit us in the face and shoot us in the foot.
It's it makes me real sad hearing that because when they said like, well, I think Malcolm X is it Malcolm X who said, I think it was him who said, black women are the most mistreated, unprotected women people in this society. And it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah, and it's just like, what would need to change for that to happen?
Exactly, because even when Meg Thee Stallion came out and said, the things that she said that she was shot, nobody really believed her. Nobody really was. Everybody was just kind of blaming her for the situation. Same thing with Rihanna, like. They were blaming her for getting beat up, saying, "Oh, she gave Chris Brown herpes, or she was on his phone."
I think that's based on that double standard. You know what I mean? Because
always double standards.
Yeah, which men got theirs, women got theirs.
Right, exactly.
And some women just really like are about that life where they'll scratch you up in the face, they'll punch you in your face.
Right. You're right.
They'll really try to like do some bodily harm.
This is true, but then as a man, you are already physically stronger than us. Like, why would you put your hands on a woman? Because, I'll bring this up. This happened, when I was younger. My mom's sister, one of her sisters, got into a fight with my dad. A physical fight.
Wow.
And
Were you there?
I witnessed it. I witnessed the whole
thing.
From the beginning to the end. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember my mom and her sister kind of getting into it. And my dad was just like, okay, it's time for you to go. And he was telling her to leave and she didn't want to leave, And so he didn't want to push her out, but he was kind of like walking her to the door, like, you got to go.
Oh, he's being a little aggressive.
He's being not aggressive. He wasn't putting his hands forceful on her or anything. He was just kind of like leading her out, come on, let's go. Cause you over here arguing with my wife. And she was putting her hands on him. She's like pushing him. And finally he.
Fisticuffs? Or was it like smacking?
She was, smacking, pushing him, shoving him.
But no fisticuffs.
Not yet.
Oh,
so
damn.
then he told her, that's when he got a little physical with her and pushed her outside. Not push, but it was like, you need to go out. You need to get out. So eventually I think she made her way back into the house. And then she's like punching my dad in the face. She's like scratching him. And even then, my dad is like 3 times bigger than she is. He still didn't, put his hands on her. And my dad has a really bad temper and he likes to fight. Everybody knows this about my dad. He's a fighter. And so he still didn't put his hands on her. And I would never forget that day. And it's crazy because she called the cops on my dad. The cops came and the cops was like, well, who lives here? My dad's like, this is my house. I'm telling her she needs to leave. And she ended up.
Luckily.
Yeah. And she ended up getting in trouble with the police. And she didn't go to jail or anything like that. But, she went home. And I would never forget that day. And now it's like, in my mind, a woman should not, she should never be able to not push a man, but make a man physically hit her. Provoke. That's the word I'm looking for. It shouldn't be where she's provoking you to hit her. Like, it should never get to that point because I saw my dad get into, he was upset. He was angry. And when she left, he was bleeding everywhere. She scratched him up bad and she was biting him, everything, and he never laid his hands on her. Yeah, he kind of shoved her to go out to get out of the house, but it was never where he pushed her where she would fall or hit her head or hurt herself or any of that. And so whenever I see, like the Chris Brown and Rihanna thing, I'm just like, regardless of what Rihanna did, she shouldn't have deserved that because the photos that we saw after, it was horrible. You know, it was horrible.
Well, what do you think about people snapping? You know, like
people, and I get it. But I feel like that has a lot to do with like how you're raised. Because I feel like Chris Brown said he grew up in like a his dad was like an alcoholic or something like that.
I thought his dad wasn't around, but maybe.
Maybe I don't know. It was something like how he was raised. He kind of blamed it on that what he saw growing up. I think his mom was in like an abusive relationship, and I could be making that up, but I feel like that.
That's funny to say.
I do. I feel like it, but I feel like that plays a part in who you are today. You know, so. Because I know for me, seeing that growing up, I know I would never let a man, a man would never be able to lay his hands on me like ever, and I would never allow that. You know what I mean?
Shout out to the real women out there,
and the real men.
Shout out to the real women and the real men out there.
And the real men, because man, you can say some hurtful things that can really provoke a person. Like, oh, I want to smash your face in, but you gotta have like self-control to not do that. So I don't know what happened with Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, but to get shot in the foot, that sounds like an accident. I would pray that was an accident.
Sound like they both toxic.
Yeah, it sounds like they both toxic.
But toxic people attract each other.
That is 100% true.
When you see people talk about, a woman finds a guy in an abusive relationship, like he's abusive.
Yeah. She
is also abusive in a certain way too. A lot.
That's very true.
And when I say a lot, I mean most of the time. Yeah. There's certain women. I see a lot. They'll go with a guy, and then they'll disappear off the face of the earth. Like you won't see them.
Oh yeah.
And then they'll come back saying, "I was being abused. I was this. I was that."
I see that a lot.
But their own behavior and how they treat him or what they do, that's the dynamic of the relationship.
Right. Exactly.
Like he knows, like it's like the yin and yang thing, right? Like he knows this person fits his particular type of personality that may be abusive. She knows she attracts these type of guys because she does these certain things and she accepts them.
Exactly.
So therefore, when something goes down and it's crazy, or she makes him jealous to see if he cares, and something pops off, it's a cycle.
That's true.
And I never see it like, oh, the guy's like abusive only or whatever. I look at it like I'm sure both of them are crazy abusive, but since the benefit of the doubt goes mostly to women because of the double standard.
Right.
Most of the time, because you're talking about big guys, athletes, guys who have a little bit too much testosterone.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, like his stories. You know what I mean? Like you always hear when you hear like a boxer, you're just not surprised. You're like, hey, that's what you get for.
But that's crazy. Mike Tyson, like, come on now. He was lightweight, heavyweight champion of the world. And he would beat on, what was her name? Robin Givens, I think that was her name. And she's like a toothpick. Like, all you had to do was yell at her, and I'm sure her heart would have been broken, but you would physically hit this lady.
Nah, but if you have someone like Mike Tyson, look, like me, if I was talking anything to Mike Tyson, he would strike back, turn me into dust.
Yeah, but that's different. That's a man and a man.
I know. But see, as a woman, you could tap into the things that he might be insecure about or he don't like.
Yeah.
And it can make him like...
He just click out.
Yeah, just black out.
Yeah.
Don't even know what's happening just off the fact that he's so enraged at the things that she's saying. Or like, because, some people spew a lot of crazy stuff when they're triggered.
No, it's true. But do you feel like they deserve it though?
No, I don't feel like they deserve it. I feel like
below the belt, you deserve to get punched in the face.
No, I don't think that at all. What I'm saying is, if you provoke, as you used earlier, a person into a state where they're almost uncontrollable or whatever, you know what road you're going down.
But see, I feel like you have to learn to walk away. That's probably the hardest thing ever to do.
Talking about for the man or for the woman?
Either one. Whoever is being provoked, you need to walk away. You know what I mean? Like, it's not okay to fight. Like, it's just not okay, I feel like, especially if you're fighting the opposite sex, like a man hitting on a woman because she provoked him. I don't know. That's just not okay with me, Yeah. I feel like if she's saying some stuff that's below the belt, you need to look at it and be like, you know what? I'm going to walk away.
But that's not the design of that person's personality.
It's not. Yeah, not everybody's like that.
Yeah, they're focused on like, being petty.
No, I get that.
You know what I mean? And things like that. I was going to bring up this word. I already gave a word, so I don't really have to deal with it. Jejune.
You can give another one. I like these.
This one's
words.
okay. This one's paramour.
Paramour. I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, you heard it recently. You heard it yesterday on Girlfriends.
Okay. So tell me what Paramour is. That sounds like I've heard this before.
Yeah, your illicit lover.
You illicit
Yeah,
lover?
illicit. Like or you said usually for someone who's married. Yeah, well, so basically it's like a side chick.
Oh God.
A paramour is like that's what it would be, right? Like a person's illicit lover.
Oh really?
Illicit, I would think, would be something you're not supposed to have.
Oh God.
And when it said usually towards a married person, I was like, paramour, person's married. I sound like a side chick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's the only word. I was gonna say it's not that great.
Oh my, no, it really isn't.
She wants to be my paramour. You remember that?
Oh yeah, that sounds like I've heard that
What
word.
was his name on there?
Oh dang, I forgot.
That's like Overton.
No, I forgot his name. We were watching William,
yeah.
I think we were watching Girlfriends last night. We watched maybe 5 or 6 episodes. At first I was like, I don't want to watch this.
Man.
I don't know what that was about. I wasn't in the mood. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to watch like sitcoms or, you just want to watch a movie or you just want to like just chill and do nothing. So I was like, I don't want to watch Girlfriends. And he was like, okay, well, let's just watch one episode. I was like, okay, cool. I mean, back then I watched it, but I wasn't like into it.
And you were saying that actually, as we're playing, it's like, I used to watch, but I didn't really watch it like that.
Yeah.
You saw one episode?
I saw one episode. I was like, can we watch another one? And another one, and another one, and another one until you like fell asleep and I just kept on watching it.
For real?
Yeah, you fell asleep on
No,
one
I mean,
episode.
you kept watching it after?
Yeah, I watched like one more episode afterwards and then by then it was like almost time to go to bed.
You almost watched a whole season.
I know. I actually enjoyed them. And they're only 20 minutes long.
See?
I know.
See, that's
I'm not open-minded enough.
You gotta be, I'm about to say, you gotta be open-minded.
I know. I'm not open-minded enough. I'm just like, sometimes I be so closed-minded, I need to open that mind.
Yeah, because you know yourself,
I know myself, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, I know I'm not gonna like this. I know I'm not in the mood.
Well, I know myself.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I really wasn't in the mood to like laugh, and then I was like, I don't remember this show being that funny. And then watching it, and I'm like giggling here and there, and I'm just looking at you, and you laugh, and I'm like, and I'm just like, let's keep on watching.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, before we bring this to a wrap, I want to kind of address SARS.
Yes, please. Yeah.
I know you asked me earlier, like, what is SARS?
I did because I saw like hashtags going around and I saw little things here and there, but I never took the time to like really research exactly what was going on. So you definitely broke it down to me. It's very heartbreaking and it's kind of like I told you, like it's like Black Lives Matter here, but in Nigeria.
Yeah, because it's funny because we experience these particular situations, but I didn't know it was SARS. So SARS is a special anti-robbery squad.
Okay.
In Nigeria, and they're backed by like it's a government program, within the police system, right?
Yeah.
And I would always tell people when you go to Nigeria, which is our experience when we went,
Yes.
where they'll stop you, they'll do a check, and then you got to have a certain amount of money that you bribe, pay them on the side, and they'll let you go. But
And I remember you telling me this for years.
Yeah, and if you don't have the bread, they'll harass you. They'll take your vehicle. They'll give you a hard time, basically, right?
But the crazy part is, not to cut you off, when you used to tell me this years ago, because I'm like, I want to go to Nigeria, and you'll bring that up. I never thought that what I'm seeing now, what SARS is what you were telling me then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, you just got to give them, a few $100 and they'll just let you go. But from what I'm seeing, it's like, no, they're like harassing and like murdering and raping people, But go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, and then that's what they're looking to end because this group is able to, it's a task force that's able to, in essence, like infiltrate and do investigations without warrants and take your phone, go through your phone, go through your car, do anything like that. If you don't cooperate in some type of way, they abuse you, hit you with the butt of their gun.
It's crazy.
It's like bad, and when you have kids that are being like killed due to a misunderstanding, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or just adults going missing. Because, like when you're driving at night and the police pull you over, you shouldn't feel like that. But see, what's happening here is very kind of, I wouldn't say the same, but it's very similar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
similar.
Because it has to do with the police and it has to do with
Exactly.
rights. They just happen to be black,
Right. And yeah, it's like the people who are here to protect you, you're afraid of them. You know, if we're driving at night and we get pulled over by the police, it's like, I don't know if this is going to even end well. You know what I mean? And they get the same feeling when they're leaving work, you know, at home. I mean, when they're leaving work and they're driving home and they see SARS, you know, hiding in the bushes and they pop out, they're just like, damn, like, all right, here we go again. You know, so it's like the people who are put there to protect you are the ones who you are afraid of.
So that's
crazy.
Almost exactly.
Pretty much the same exact. That's why I was like, it's very like Black Lives Matter here, but the exact same there. It's just like, this is like a worldwide issue. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then same things happen in India. In India, it's even crazier.
It's
you know.
crazy, yeah.
So I feel like this is a moment where people are calling to action to stop abuse of power, abuse of government.
That's exactly what
you know,
it
because
is.
they know better for you.
Right.
And yet they put things in place that don't protect you, don't make you better. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I feel like bringing this to attention because, I mean, literally it spread like a wildfire.
Yeah.
Literally in just a couple of days. Because I'm seeing a little bit about SARS.
Right.
And then now it's like everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. That's what made me ask you that question. And like I said, I saw like a few things here and there. And then tonight I was just like, babe, what is SARS, and can you explain to me exactly what that is? You know, and so I was glad that you kind of shed some light on it because I had really no clue how big and serious the issue was. You know, so it's
now
just
they're killing
insane.
protesters. It's like getting crazy. It's like, I
don't know what is happening in the world. Like, it's so much chaos right now.
I think it's just abuse. You know, like people are tired of being abused. You know,
the abuse of power.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like you can't put something in place that I have to, in essence, cooperate with. That's not there to protect me or doesn't have my best interest.
Exactly.
That's the issue. It's like if your design is to protect citizens, and I'm a citizen, and then you don't protect me, or you abuse me, or you harass me, or whatever, and you know, you don't have anything. Like it's almost like they're asking for them to, in essence, defund not only the SARS but the program that, you know, is not helping the people. You know, same thing like as they say, you know, we need to, you know, restructure and defund the police here because their purpose isn't being fulfilled anymore. You know, so just want to bring attention to that real quick. Talk about that, and I'm still learning about it as time goes on. Hopefully y'all could learn and look into this. Yeah, for sure. About SARS, SARS. Pretty crazy, but
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So anything else you want to mention to the people?
No, just same thing as usual. Go ahead and vote. Make sure y'all vote. We voted. Y'all did vote. I mean, I know some people who said they're not voting.
That's crazy.
Try to convince them to vote because it is extremely important and your vote does count.
It does.
It counts.
Go out there and vote.
Yes.
Appreciate y'all for listening.
Of course.
We'll see you later. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Love, peace be with you. Go out there and vote. Peace.